self-esteem, and art is the way to go, kids. It is a way to self-heal. I've said it before, I will say it again. Art makes the brain work, makes the heart pump, keeps us physically and emotionally healthy. Shh, 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 Susie. Susie, Susie, shh, shh. We're beginning. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Art with Liz. As always, I want to start with a major thank you to the Hoboken Public Library for allowing us to have these incredibly unique hybrid classes where people can enjoy the creative process right here in the beautiful renovated space at the Hoboken Library, as well as in the comfort of their studios at home. So we have many people online and watching on YouTube and Zoom, and many people here in person as well. And I know people are going to start dribbling in as well as the class proceeds. We are in the month of November, and even though Latino and Latina American History Month really ended last week officially in the United States of America, because I was away for a while in October, we are going to celebrate Latino and Latina American art for the entire month of November. So that is our theme. And for this week, we are going to be looking at a woman of Latin American heritage. We're going to look at her art first, and I think she's really going to get you pumped up to do the project that I have for you today. Her work will, I believe, inspire you to do your own project today. Her name is Glendalys Medina. She is of Afro-Puerto Rican heritage. Her work is, you have to decide, is it fine art? Is it craft? Is it a combination of both? But she is definitely influenced by her cultural and ethnic heritage. She is also a feminist lesbian artist, and she is working to transcend symbolic language and use visual shape and color to transmit her message. And her message is basically, we are all the same, even though we come from a variety of backgrounds. We all speak a variety of languages, and we all have different religious and cultural belief systems. All right, we're going to start with a slideshow of her work. I may even show a short video clip of an interview that she gave. We'll see how time is running along and if we have time for the interview as well as the slideshow. Good morning. Here we go with the slideshow. Glendalys Medina is our artist for today. So folks at home, as always, if you could please let me know. First, I want to get out of my AOL account. Folks at home, you can see the slideshow. If someone could give me, yes, thank you, Margot. Oh, and Ryan is trying to get in, Laura. I'm trying to admit her, but I am unable. Thanks, Laura. So this image, as usual, because it's digitized, is a little blurry. But I'm showing this picture first because I heard in the interview that I may show later, this is a foundational piece for Glendalys. It is called Boombox. And Glendalys was born in Puerto Rico, but grew up in the Bronx. So hip hop culture, as well as Taino, traditional Caribbean culture, as well as Afro-Caribbean culture, are all part of the blend and mix that make her who she is as an individual. And this is a boombox. And throughout her growing up years, her formative years, she listened to hip hop on the boombox, whether it was her own radio or the neighborhood boombox. Hip hop was an important part of her life. So this is an image of a boombox that she created, and on it are Taino symbols. And for those of you who don't know, the Taino people are indigenous people who inhabited pretty much all of the Caribbean islands. Unfortunately, in the United States, we tend to think of the Taino people as only living on Puerto Rico, but that's not true. The Taino people lived on many, many islands in the Caribbean. And that's something that's very important for Ms. Medina to make clear through her artwork. The Taino people inhabited several of the Caribbean islands, not just Puerto Rico. So the images that you see on the front of the boombox are Taino. And she thinks those shapes are quite beautiful and important for her to use to convey her message and concept. So she is a multi or interdisciplinary artist. She received an MFA and BFA from Hunter College. She also studied at the Slade School of Fine Art under the tutelage of Felita Barlow, whom we've talked about in the past, and Eva Rothschild. Her work has been presented at ArtSpace, El Museo del Barrio, the Bronx Museum of Art, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Vigo, Spain, the Studio Museum of Art in Harlem. I could go on and on and on. But this image, this piece is extremely important because she says that the shapes that she used in this painting, she deconstructs and uses over and over again. So for example, you can see the circles in the speakers on the front of the boombox. Can you see them on the bottom left and bottom right and upper left and upper right of the boombox?
Yes.
She uses those circles over and over again in her work, and you're going to see that in a moment. So we're going to move on in the slides. I put this picture second because this is the image of Atabe. And Atabe, for Ms. Medina, for Glendalys, is exceptionally important to her. Atabe is the Taino goddess, the biggest goddess, the top most important goddess in the spiritual pantheon of the Taino belief system. And she has used her in her paintings multiple times. She also did an entire show devoted to the goddess Atabe. And I'm also showing it because the colors are extremely important. The red represents the red earth color that the Taino people use in their pottery. And the Taino people were quite famous for the pottery that they made. They had a thriving pottery industry throughout the islands of the Caribbean and were quite well known for the beauty of their pottery. The gold also is prominent in this piece and other artworks that Glendalys has created. And that is all about the fact that the European conquerors who came to the Caribbean came because of their belief that there was a lot of gold in the Caribbean islands, and they wanted it for themselves. The Taino also were famous for the gold jewelry that they created, none of which exists any longer, unfortunately. So a lot of it was stolen or lost during the period of the conquerors. And she wants to represent that, and she does over and over in her work. So these two images of Atabe and the boombox, She deconstructs, she makes abstract, and you're going to see them again and again in the images that follow. As always, I invite folks either here or at home, if you have comments or thoughts or ideas about Ms. Medina's work, feel free to share them. So can you see now what I've been referring to? You can see the shapes from the boombox for sure in this image, and you will see them over and over again in her work. The colors have changed, but the shapes remain the same, and she's shifted them in various different ways and in different directions. So you can see little dots surrounding the shapes. And this is where I'm conflicted about whether her work is fine art or craft, because the media that she uses is paint, but also nails with thread. So many of you probably have seen or made the technique where you take nails and then string thread between the nails to create a beautiful texture. That is what she does in her practice. Is that fine art or is that a craft form? And I'm not denigrating the crafts. I believe that craft is at the same level as fine art, but throughout, I don't know, could I say centuries? This is a debate that's been going on in the fine art world. What is craft? What is fine art? I find her work very beautiful. I think it deserves to be called fine art. And obviously, many great art institutions around the world also include her work in that category. I failed to mention, forgive me, she's currently a professor at School of Visual Arts MFA Fine Arts program and lives and works in New York City. So she loves this Black background color, and I'm going to be talking more about that when I talk about the methods that you can use in today's project. Again, she takes the same shapes and uses them in different ways over and over and over again. It's interesting the way an artist can start with a basic concept and then mine that concept to create an entire body of work that he or she can work on for years and years and years. And that's a wonderful thing. You can explore one idea in so many different ways, and it can create an entire wealth of ideas for you. So here's a quote from Glendalys. My practice is inspired by how humans learn, create order out of chaos, and make sense of the world. How previous knowledge is essential for learning and perceiving. How the ambiguity of the world increases our reliance on that previous knowledge. How we project that knowledge when we don't understand, and how we see with our brains, recognizing patterns of information. I create work that amplifies marginalized voices, deconstructs and reconstructs image, language, and systems to incite a change in cognitive structures that occur as a result of an experience. It goes on further, but maybe I'll share the rest of the quote later in the slideshow. Circles play a prominent role, those rectangles. I don't know what to call that other shape. It looks like the sail on a sailboat, right? She uses that red earth color quite a bit. I like some more than others, I have to admit. The ones with the deeper colors, the richer, darker colors get to me more than the ones with the lighter, brighter colors. Looks like a what? It does. It looks like a diagram or a map. That's an interesting observation. It also looks like islands, which is quite fascinating to me since her background is Caribbean, having lived and grown up on an island. Each of the shapes is separate from one another and kind of floating, and yet they relate to each other, don't they? The fact that they're so close together and almost touching creates an interesting dynamic in the composition. The fact that they're each outlined too. These are things to think about today when you create your image. Notice they're not touching, but they're very close together, so that the negative space in between each shape creates a kind of tension and dynamic that I think is quite interesting. And they're all outlined. She uses, and that's created by the nails that she uses. She tends to use these gold-headed nails. Again, the gold is very important to her. It represents the stolen artifacts that were taken from the islands by the conquistadores. I really like the composition of this piece. Somehow turning it vertically really gives it a whole nother power structure that I find very interesting. I like in the middle how the two sail shapes are not symmetrical. They're kind of sliding past each other. It gives a sense of movement, and it makes the entire composition look as if it's sliding, doesn't it? As if the shapes are shifting through space. How do people feel about the black background? You like it. Why? Can you express why?
She wanted to use in the center? Is it just making more, I don't know, presence?
Okay. Nicely put.
Darkness at nighttime and the sun the daytime.
Okay, so it may have symbolic meaning to it as well. Great.
Then you see the sails, but I feel like I see the cruises also when they come in the port.
So like cruise ships with tourists. Okay.
Yeah.
That certainly affects the Caribbean. Where the ships dock, where the ships tie up. Oh, I like that interpretation. Very cool. So this one is about musical instruments and the influence of Caribbean music on American culture, things like salsa. Where does the music come from? She's thinking about Afro-Caribbean influence on her life and the fact that a lot of Caribbean music is influenced by African music, and the fact that many of the instruments that are found in Caribbean life come from Africa. And I forget, she talks about in this interview what particular instrument this is, but it is an African instrument. I wish Ibu was here to tell us. My husband, as you know, is from Senegal. He could refresh my memory. But there are some additional shapes in this that were not present in the other one. And notice in this one, the shapes are touching. The stick is obviously the part of the instrument that is used to make the sound. And there's a lot more detail in this one. This is the one that led me to think about the project we're going to do today. So we're going to be creating mosaic-like paper collage. And this one to me feels very much like a tile mosaic. So sorry. So to finish off her quote, she says, I'm interested in creating moments when previous knowledge gets an upgrade and new perspectives are formed to establish cultural inclusivity. My work exhibits Taino, Indigenous Caribbean culture, hip hop and Latinx culture and music, and explores personal development as an empowering tool to re-identify societal and personal value structures to gain cultural equity in a transcultural global society. So there's a lot of thought and concept behind her work. It looks very simple in design, but she's put a lot of thought and meaning behind her work. So these I find really interesting. These are not done with the nails and threads. She did a series of portraits. I believe they're portraits of people in her neighborhood. Maybe you guys can find it, more information for me because I could not find them. These are done, excuse me, with pieces of wood that she has cut out and glued down in a collage-like way. I really like them. What do you folks think? You like this the best? Why? Can you? So you
Yes, to the circles. Somebody.
so because it's more realistic, or you find an emotional?
Yeah. So, I don't know exactly. Human shape. Yeah.
Right. So you can maybe, there's more of an empathy with this, maybe.
Not very nice. Not to do it.
Okay. She still has the same shapes in there.
Yeah.
She is wedded to those, what I'm calling the sail shapes in the forehead of this image.
Croatia, was more decorative before.
Yes, this is less decorative. More identifiable, more relatable. They're quite large too. So the brown strip at the bottom of this image is the floor in the gallery. So they're very large pieces. I don't. There are a lot of videos about her, and I recommend that you look up the videos and watch them. She's very, very forthcoming with information about her work and likes to talk about her work a lot. And I really recommend that you listen to them. The video I have is 4 minutes long. We can take a vote at the end if you'd like to listen to her. I'd be happy to show it. This again is very different from the other work we looked at. I don't know if it's early or later work. Not with the nails. This one, I believe, is, a shaped canvas. Maybe it's pieces of wood that she's attached to the top. And this appears to be just paint. Again, very different. This one I like very much, in fact. This one really feels like being on an island to me. Again, very different. So I don't even know if these are older or newer works. I don't know if this is oil or acrylic. All right. So that is our slideshow. Oops, I forgot to stop the share. I always do that wrong. Forgive me, everyone. Hopefully it won't cause technical problems. Anyone interested in seeing the video? Let's take a vote. How many people would rather do the artwork? Oh, so that means you want to see the video. Okay, let me see if I can make that happen. Folks at home, you'd rather see the video? I think you're outvoted. Okay, it looks like, yeah, it does look that way. Okay.
Liz, it's Robin. I love her philosophy. I love the what is motivating her and what she's putting forth, and all about culture and understanding. And it's so relevant for today. So relevant for today. So thank you. Plus, her work is fabulous in so many. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but it is just amazing that she could take one thing and make so many different things of it. It just, it's inspiring, and it's set off a whole new ideas about working with my art. So thank you.
You're welcome, Robin. All right, can folks at home see on the screen that I have the video up? Thank you, Yeko. Let's see if this works. Oh, and of course it's so smooth.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Allison Heaney, Vice President of Learning and Public Programs at the Museum of Latin American Arts. We welcome you today, Wednesday, October 25th, 2023, to this edition of MOLA Zoom Project, in conversation with the artist Glendalys Medina, where MOLA Chief Curator Gabriela Ortiaga will discuss with the artist her work and career. MOLA acknowledges the support of the Dwight Stewart Youth Fund, the Miller Foundation, the Arts Council for Long Beach, and a special thank you to the California Arts Council Arts Exposure Grant for their constant support of the educational programs at the Museum of Latin American Art. Each chapter of the MOLA Zoom project features a conversation between the most remarkable artists of Latin America across the U.S. and our MOLA Chief Curator, Gabriela Ortiaga. Together, we focus on a series of specific artworks which require a close inspection, a deliberate process of contemplation and exploration, delving into the ideas surrounding the creation of the work, their sources of research and inspiration, in an effort to immerse ourselves in the world of the artist. In this chapter of the MOLA Zoom project, we are joined by multidisciplinary artist Glendalys Medina, whose work is inspired on how humans learn and make sense of the world. In working with the fusion of Taino culture, hip-hop, Latinx culture, she amplifies marginalized voices to incite change and establish cultural inclusivity. Born in Puerto Rico and raised in the Bronx, Medina received her MFA from Hunter College and presented artwork at international and notable venues such as PAMM, Participant Inc., Performa 19, Artist Space, the Bronx Museum of Art, and Museo de Barrio, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Vigo, Spain, and the Studio Museum in Harlem, among others. Medina was a recipient of the Pollock Krasner Foundation grant in 2020, Jerome Hill Foundation Fellowship in 2019, the Rome Prize of Visual Arts in 2013, the NYFA Fellowship of Interdisciplinary Art in 2012, and the Bronx Museum Artist in the Marketplace Residency in 2010. Medina is currently a professor at SVA MFA Fine Arts Program and lives and works in New York. With that, I'd like to welcome Glendalys and our Chief Curator, Gabriela Ortiaga.
Thank you, Alison and all the MOLA team. Hello, everyone. Bienvenidos a MOLA. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, Glendalys querida. It's a real honor to have you with us. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you guys for inviting me, and thank you to the audience. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, Glendalys, we are very, very happy with this opportunity to know more about your work, your creative process, and also, as you mentioned in our previous conversation, as an Afro-Cuban, New Yorker descendant artist, we really love to know more about what are the key ideas that motivate your work, your influence, and interest. Will you share with us?
Yes, Afro-Caribbean. My ideas behind my work. So a lot of ideas currently in my practice have to do with like decolonization. Like how can we decolonize ideas about abstraction, ideas about craft, ideas about fine arts, ideas about identity itself. So a lot of my work talks about hybridity of identity, hybridity of materials, and how they can be incorporated to relate back to the hybridity of being from the Caribbean, or being of multiple descents. So I'm interested in how people incorporate information visually, in specifics with symbols relating to imagery, and creating a pictorial language that people can ingest. For inclusivity, like, so people can understand that Tainos were all over the Caribbean. It's not just Puerto Rican. They were just not in Puerto Rico. They were in Cuba. They were in Jamaica. They were in Dominican Republic. They were in Haiti. They were all over. And just ideas of like what a Caribbean is, and how is it different from being in the United States of America, where there are a lot of Caribbeans. And what we have to tackle on top of being from the island, and how we navigate the world in the United States of America. Yeah.
And Glendalys, I would like to put the focus in the construction and in the narrative of your visual vocabulary that I think is essential in your body of work, right? And where you explore all the variation in dialogue with the identity and the popular culture. And for that reason, we select one of your marvelous pieces, Boombox from 2008.
Yes. This piece, when I was making a piece about graffiti and about hip hop culture, about using hip hop culture as a system for personal development. And so I made this piece called Boombox, which is an homage to breakdancing. And what I realized when I made this piece was I was giving an homage to breakdancing, but I was also talking about the commercial aspects of hip hop and how it's become a globalized commodity. But I was also thinking about like the imagery on top of the boombox itself. It's like, okay, so these basic shapes create the boombox, and how can I create a visual language that's away from like the Roman alphabet? Well, I can go into shape. And since Taino symbols are pictorial language, so this piece really was like the jumping off point of like my visual language. So what I did was I made this piece, I had a stencil format, and the stencil became my language. It's like, how can I abstract this a horizontal object into a vertical object so it could become a portrait? And that portrait is 50 shapes of who I am. And it's like the foundation of most of my work.
So cool.
This piece was really influential to me.
Wow, yes. And also, for example, we have exercise one from 2018 that is part of your creative process and also function as a foundation of the structure of visual ideas. Could you explain more about this specific series that you create and open up a little more about your creative process?
Yes. Okay, so I made the boombox piece and I wanted people to understand my creative process. Like, how did I come up with this? And I also wanted to give it to the world. So a lot of my process, especially the work that had to do with the shank, so they had to do with personal development and using hip hop culture to enhance yourself, I would have exercises. And this was one of them. Okay, how do I explain? How do you become a graffiti artist? How do you create your own visual language? Well, you pick an object. You pick an object that you really identify with, and I happen to pick the boombox. You strip it of all this like details, and you create just basic shapes, which is the one on the top there. And then I took that basic shapes and I mirrored it at 45, 90 degrees, or 80 degrees. So I would get the interlocking shapes. So I would create a visual kind of Gestalt principle of closure, right? And then I wanted to show how those pieces need to fit into the other pieces to create like a concept, like, because I often put the last three of this print into the bigger piece because that's where they come from. They're the interlocking shapes. And that for me is like showing 3 dimensions, like showing the hybridity. It's like I'm in this shape, that's in this shape, that's in this shape. Like I'm this person. Like I could be sitting here and I could be a queer person, a Black person, a Latin person, a person, and not another inanimate object. I could be a lot of things and still be standing here. So I wanted to show that visually, like a shape within a shape within a shape.
Wow.
And then the basic foundational element of a circle a triangle that turns into a diamond and a square. From my rectangle of a portrait, you know?
Yeah.
So relating it back to geometry, but also relating it, anybody could do this. Anyone can follow these instructions and
So
make their own
this
visual
basically explains her work. I would like to stop and talk about what we're going to do. Okay with you?
So
Yes.
we can see another incredible
Oops.
group of variation that is the series of timbales, giro, and maracas. And I would like if you can explain a little more about your message in
It's a salsa like the timbales, which is more contemporary. And
Timbales is the name of that instrument. Okay, good. At least we found that out. Okay, I respect your opinion, Daniel.
Liz, what was the name of the instrument?
Timbales, Timbales. I respect your opinion, Daniel. I would recharacterize her as someone very deep. That to go from the shape of a boombox and create her lifetime work from the influence of hip hop culture into a visual language. To me, it's very personal because, you know, I've created a language for my dolls, and it's been very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to create a whole new language. So I'm impressed to move away from the English alphabet or the Roman Latin alphabet to try and create a whole new language is very impressive to me. So anyway, today, here's my suggestion. I have brought in, and those of you at home, you're going to have to scrabble through the materials that you have at home. I have brought in for folks here colored paper, acrylic paint, white background paper, scissors, glue sticks, pencils. That's it. My recommendation is you choose a color to paint as your background. Draw a rectangle on the large white paper as your frame in which to work. Fill that in with a solid color. Put that aside to dry. Think about the geometric shapes that you would like to use. Draw in pencil, cut them out while the paint is drying. Cut them out. Start planning the composition of where you're going to glue those shapes on top of the background color. Questions? Folks at home, look for old catalogs, even newsprint, magazines, anything that you have that is colored paper to use to cut out your shapes. Now, if you're using images with pictures and print, try and ignore the pictures and the print and look for colors, dominant colors in your pictures. Understood? Because color and shape are dominant themes for this project. Folks who are here, if you want me to show you what you can do, I'm happy to do that. Laura, I mean, we could do a demo for folks at home as well, if you want to set up the camera for us. But folks at home, I think you understand. For anyone who does not understand the directions at home, we're good to go. All right. So let's get our materials. Everyone here, everything you need is at the back. When you're pouring paint, please be sensitive to the fact that this is public space. Be careful. Oh, one thing I did not bring is plates to put your paint in, but there are plenty of cups. I recommend you use the little cups to pour out your one color for background, one solid color for your background color. Everybody understand? You only need one color for your background. I can't stop you from mixing colors if you want. Feel free to do that, but you can do that in one cup. So this is paper collage. I'm calling it mosaic because I want you to cut out many shapes. I'm not asking you to create your whole entire visual language today. We don't have enough time. But maybe it'll send you down that road. That would be very cool. Anyone want me to do a demo? Raise your hand. I'm happy to. Okay, Linda. Happy to. Everybody's going to want to use black, so patient. Only need one color. Really only need one color. Yeah, or students only use one color. And then cut different colored paper. Yeah. Oh, I got it. Yeah, absolutely. You want to wait and watch what I'm doing? That's what I'm here. No, you use any color you want. She used black. You don't have to. I welcome. I'm Liz. That's been nice to meet you. I mean, you give me some colors. All right, I'm about to start the demonstration, so if you want to watch. They said they didn't really need help, but if you want to do it on the camera. All right, so here I go. Anyone else want to watch? Susie, do you want to watch or you're good to go? So my suggestion is that you create a frame. Many artists like to work within a certain amount of space, control the area of working. And just to start, you want to fill this space. That. See what that speaks on your paper? Just fill all this in. Everyone here is perfect. Oh, except me. Because I should have seen to convey this. Somehow I failed. All right, perfect. So you're going to fill in this space, this rectangular space. And that's, of course, you want to do another case. Fairly solid. You don't have to have a thick layer because you don't have a whole lot of time in this class. The more paint you use, the longer it's going to take to dry. So, fill it in. Put it aside, let it dry. Paper. Start drawing your shapes. What I am asking to conserve paper. There are trees. Try and create your shapes along the outer edge and then go inward. Work. You won't waste always the whole sheet of paper. If you cut a tiny circle in the middle, and the way to the outer edge. So create your shapes on the outer edge, rather than first. Cut it out, and work on doing that. By the way, for this. Then use your glue stick, but play around with how you organize the shape before you start doing it. Question?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, you're gonna need more. You might want to add space if you space here. Yes, me. Okay. Thank you, Lord. Are you here? Do you have enough space? You don't have to withdraw. Okay. As always, if you don't like the assignment, like do your own thing.
Place three, columns.
All right, I will put a picture by Ms. Medina up on the screen. Do you want me to put one of the faces, or do you want me to put one complementary images up? One face. All right, I'll put a face up. You got the cardboard. Yeah, I like the cardboard. Thank you, Laura. Joy, you have more room now. Good, you're comfy. Good. Eileen, you have enough space? It looks like you can shift a little to your left now. Because Joy is moving over there. Moving? Yeah. Want me anymore? So it's all right if when you're ready to glue down your shapes, if the paint is still a little bit wet, that's fine. Just try not to get paint on the tip of the glue stick because that will ruin the glue stick forever. That's all I ask. Everybody understand that? Yes. Mrs. Lindor, I get that. No one's listening to me. All right. All righty then. I think her work was interesting. I always love finding new artists. She is brand new to me. Okay, we will put a face up since no one objected to that. And I believe they are made from cutout pieces of wood. I will be honest, guessing about that. That's what they look like to me. How's that? Everybody able to see this image? Dina, welcome. I didn't even realize you were here. Hi, Robin, I'm glad you could make it. Courtney, yay. So we have a full house at home. This is terrific. Oh, John, you shifted over here. Good. You have more room, right? You were stuck at the end there. Good. Everyone found the materials that they need. I mean, if you don't want to paint your background, that's fine too.
More. Interesting. Well, I'm just trying. Let's see how we go. Yes. I think I was thinking more of that. Work for us.
Well, Joy, I hope you don't think that's true, because we want you to come back.
Why won't you come back?
You're having fun?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's fine.
We're not
If I
recording.
can-
we're-
Right through the soul there, laughing.
Okay, we love you.
We're this side. Yeah, you break. You break it, you say. You all like having. Okay. This is almost ready. Yeah, okay, so let's try pretty fast.
Right, so you're creating a representational shape, that's okay. How much do we love the scissors since I got them sharpened?
Much better.
Okay, good. There still aren't enough for everybody that have their own, so please share. I did buy one new pair. If you don't like cutting, you can rip. Ripping is cool. Yeah, and all of my rulers had disappeared. So I didn't bring anything. Those of you who are precision people and you want to cut
Liz,
sharp edge shapes.
Liz, I have a big ruler, if anybody wants to use it.
Oh, it's gonna be kind of awkward, but thank you for offering.
I forgot my little one.
I use the edge.
You can use the edge of the paper.
Ah.
Colored paper especially has a nice stiff edge. Anybody want this ruler?
Music as a feature.
Does anybody behave? Oh, with that ruler, if you use it. It's got a split.
Yeah, I meant to stand.
All right, so I'm pleased to see that people are cutting out lots of shapes, but they're not gluing down yet. Remember to move the shapes around and play with them before you do the actual gluing. That is a really good strategy.
All the same pattern that the artist has.
Say it again, please.
Should we use the same geometrical shapes
No,
like
you
her?
can do organic shapes. Remember, she created her own language, so if you're more into curvy head shapes, go for it.
Alina.
So sorry. Welcome back.
Thank you.
No, Esty. Well, I did Esty. I know, but you were like that. But it's like that. Not sure, not sure. I would think of Esty, that's why you crossed it. Yeah. Oh, you. You could teach her. Is your name Esther? Oh, but Esty is a different. Esther Williams, you remember her? Did you remember Esther Williams? Know who she was, I don't remember her. Never saw her?
Dancer.
No, she's remember. Yeah, I know.
That's fun. You get.
You know what? Maybe I can just join the shapes.
I'm so thrilled in Boston. What everybody's going in their own direction. I'm so happy.
What we do.
Well, folks, do you like the videos? Okay. So you're itchy to go to work, so I don't want to cringe on your work. This is even. Drawing and cutting. Folks at home, we're copacetic. We're creating. We're happy in our home art caves. Doesn't have to be very nice. I think that would shape it. And some people are literally tracing the bottom of the rain. You do that.
It's all shapes from. Colors. No, actually. You know, there is a library. Upstairs. Where we
Absolutely.
You want to think of that? This is very fast, kid. But you're going down. Slide. No, because I know. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be a thing. It just be a shape. No. We have to share, I'm sorry. We have two next to each other here. So share, and that's- You want to do this? You can share.
Thank you.
Yep. It's just saying that I don't.
So.
You don't have to talk to my husband. So how would it make the scissors disappear? I can't tell you, it's like a sinkhole. It's, my house is the art sinkhole. And the things that stink are rulers and scissors and pencils and my Uniball pens. Is he an artist also? Yes. There's a ginormous carpet that someone is throwing away next door. I'm terrified he's gonna
Oh.
take it. I mean, it's so big it would fill this room. That's how big it is. You may not be able to use it. Well, instead of doing that. I bought brand new big eraser. You can get it. Nice, white. Wanted to start. No, I got something else. I didn't buy them. I went to Michael's. There was a Michael's right at 23rd and 6th Avenue. Get up that train. Turn left. It's actually, I guess, 22nd and 6th Avenue. And it's easy to miss because it's inside, it shares a building with another big box store. I forget what it is. Escape. It's a men's clothing.
Where's Susan? Susan, I'm gonna send, oh, I can't when the picture's up. Susan, I'm just gonna say, thank you so much for the Neil deGrasse Tyson. I just mentioned briefly a word about Jen Giattino. Thinking of her this morning, her funeral is going on right now. So a great champion for the arts here in Hoboken passed away suddenly last week. And she was a hero for the arts. So just letting folks know that I am thinking of her, and my heart goes out to her family and friends
And she's in art.
today.
You go to the funeral home?
I went to the wake, yes. I want to let, it's premature, but I'm letting everyone know that the Hoboken Arts Committee has already started thinking about a memorial for her, but this is not the time. We want to give the family a chance to grieve, decide what they want to do to honor her. Something beautiful will be done. That I know.
Okay, eight. Oh, I won't tell you. $8? Yeah. No, I don't want to go. No, I don't like that, but that's yours. Oh, child. Exactly. I know. You're here. I think
Positive comments.
wow. That's not simply, that's not. Yes. Wow.
That's try it. If you don't like it, don't. If I don't like it, what? If I continue on. Ooh, big tongue. Solid. So if you have a 60 exact. Like art. Like art. The top chef. Coming around. I like it too. So it's just fast. That's a good idea. Aren't you doing anything? Oh, this is good. Wow, that's pretty good. Wow. Are you finished? You can say that. I just see the whole number. I'll look at it. Yeah. When I was in that. Actually, that's
friend. They may perform again. They may.
Oh, there's gonna be a Jimmy Bridges experience concert in Leicester. I know it. Yeah, I wanna go. Anybody wanna go? To where? Jimi Hendrix experience concert. Very obviously he won't. That's very good. No idea.
Is there like an hour on
Mm.
so then there is a big mall outside. And there's probably a train or
Talk about joyful, right? That's gotta be good. All right, folks at home, are you feeling? We're moving along well. Yes, Robin? Awesome. Looks like we lost the Hardys. Too bad. Everyone else, you're doing good. Okay, super. So we have 20 students today. Good. Our numbers are coming back.
Oh, this is your sign sheet.
No. No. People have been asking me about my trip to France. I have not shared anything. It was pretty fantastic. I did get to go to the Musée d'Orsay, which is the top museum in Paris. And I saw some incredible art, and I went to an ethnographic museum that I'd never heard of before called the Quai de, I just forgot the name, Quai de Brandy, I think. That was pretty fantastic. They had a lot of Australian Aboriginal art, which is a big favorite of mine. And then I went to 3 or 4 different museums in Bordeaux. A lot of Baroque art. Susie, you can do another. Or you drawing them too long. I have those shades too. Mine on too. Very well.
I go home. Don't touch my drums. I don't want to interrupt you, but do you know what public Picasso is? What? The only alternative part will be to work his entire life to bring back the child quality
The
in
innocence.
his work. You can create that in your own work. You are the innovative Pablo Picasso. Make my day. You should celebrate the fact that you think the work is good.
Matisse did class.
Of course. So this, so you're gonna do this to this, so that will work. Never mind. Stop it. Stop it. John, I'm predicting you're not gonna have time to cut out and do your shapes,
Yes,
but
I
that's
will.
okay. The shapes you're painting are pretty bad. Yeah, maybe tomorrow you might want to start thinking about gluing down. It's 11:30. So we have about 15 minutes to clean up. Time to cut out and glue down. It's okay. Everybody loves their own style and has their own style.
The advantage I have, I leave here, I can go to my community room.
You can work it
and
every month.
I do the good thing.
Always keep yourself into normal.
There's one good thing about your class is I'm a slow worker. I learned how to work fast.
So much more. Like you're saying. So I learned the same thing. I've learned that. No, go ahead. Thank you for sharing.
Well, because the time. You say, I'm so glad I didn't have this.
I was trying out there.
Small. Yours.
You waiting for the rest?
Yeah.
Are you using your scissors?
Yeah.
Oh, much as I hate to, oh no, we still have time. I want to ask at this juncture in the class, as I always do, raise your hand if you want to share at the end of class. So does this mean you'd rather keep working than the child you do? The choice is, do you want to keep working or do you want to stop in time to share at the end of class? The beauty of sharing is you can get new ideas and advice from your fellow classmates. Those of you who are new to the class, our sharing is a positive experience. Negative comments are not allowed. What we can do then is during the cleanup process, I invite you to walk around and talk to each other about your work and share ideas. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, so if we don't stop early for sharing, that means we have maybe 10 more minutes to go. Folks at home, if you want to put things up on the screen for me to look at, I'm going to stop the share. Is that okay? Heather, I think you're the only one looking at this image on the screen. Is that all right, folks at home, if I stop the share, or are you using this image for your work?
Stopping the share is fine, Liz. My work, I can't even hold it up because I haven't even started gluing. This
Uh-huh.
is much more complicated than, but
get it.
I
You,
will,
you are very good about sending me JPEGs.
I will send it. Absolutely. Sorry, I can't get it
Oh,
together.
no. There are no apologies in this class. And again, I want to repeat, we all have a different style. We all work at a different speed. Do not ever apologize for being slow and deliberate and careful in your work. I wish I could work that way. That's not my style. All right, well, people are starting to clean up here. It is not cleanup time. You have about 10 minutes, 8 minutes till cleanup now. Folks at home, is there anyone who wants to put their work up for me to look at? I'm stopping the share. Susan, all right, I'm going to spotlight you.
Granddaughter will come and say, who is that? Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. Folks who are here, excuse me, shh. Folks who are here, we're spotlighting the work of people working at home. So if you could stop your conversations momentarily and look at the screen or focus on your own work. Did you have a theme, Susan, behind this?
My theme was kind of alien life.
All right, one of your favorites. I like your shape. You use black construction paper for your background, which is a great way to do this project as well.
Yeah, and I had tissue paper that I got at a Japanese store.
Very nice.
And dots that I got at a Japanese store, and I have other papers from card making, so I had a lot of material.
So this is a work in progress, or this one's finished?
It's not, yeah, it's almost finished, not quite yet.
Okay.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Thanks. I wish I had gold paper, but I didn't have any, so maybe I'll get some.
Yes, gold would be very much in keeping with Glendalys's work. All right, anyone else at home who wants to share? Nope.
Gluing.
Courtney, was that you?
I was just saying, still gluing.
Okay. All right. So please send JPEGs. Anyone in the class who's new, and I haven't done this in a while, if you want to share your email address with me, I do send out a letter, an email every week about what the class the following week is going to be about. So get a scrap of paper, write your email address on it, and give it to me, and I will add you to our email list. Anyone who has not been receiving emails, you can do that too. I will re-enter your email to my list. Eileen, have you been receiving emails or still no? Eileen, have you gotten any emails from me lately? Or
Yes, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
Sometimes without.
okay. All right, folks, here you have 5 minutes till cleanup. So my phone, just so folks know, is silenced, but I'm still getting those kind of junk phone calls are coming through. So forgive me for that. Something that's gonna set it off balance, just a little, something unexpected, you know? Something that's not on both sides. You understand what I'm saying? Something asymmetrical. Something completely different. Very nice. It's very nice the way it is. Maybe it's done. Very nice the way it is. Well, that's even fun. There's yours. I like the addition of the red. Like maybe on top of it. Yeah, we're going to throw that on it. Oh, thank you, Joy. I hope you have one.
Be personal. Yeah. Call my name. No, like my day.
Maybe you don't need the circle. I like that, Eileen. All right, guys, 1 minute till clean up. John, maybe you better start reading it now. Deep affection time. Maybe you better start it. This white is a little too Oh, yeah, that's an idea too. Because this is very strong and it takes one to wonderful. No, but there is another one. No, there is every morning they check the eye out. They send me a code. All right, folks, come on, we gotta clean up. If you haven't started cleaning, I'm sorry to interrupt the creative process. I love you all. You're all doing gorgeous work, but Unfortunately, we must clean up the spaces used by other people, and folks at home, continue working. You are in the lucky position of not having to stop. And I believe all of you have my email address. I will reply to your emails with attached JPEGs as soon as possible. And see you all next week. We will have another artist. Is it our final class for November next week? Is that possible? Or do we have a class after Thanksgiving? Yes, we have a class after Thanksgiving. Love it. I love it.
You know what?
Love it. Sure. Let us look at Alana's. I gotta figure out how to do it. Alina's, right? Alina's. I got so excited looking at your work that I mispronounced your name. Come to the camera so folks at home can see as well. Alina, come to the camera.
Hi, everybody. My name is
Everybody
Alina.
stop for a second and look at Alina's work.
wow,
She's so excited. Isn't it fabulous?
So I had the
Congratulations, excellent.
So Alina's talking about it. Listen.
I came back last week from Florida, Key West. It was very stormy, but also very bright and sunny there. And this reminds me of one of the beaches that I've been on.
Nice.
But
Lucky you.
my first idea was to do something, a mix of the beautiful sun that we leave behind and also Halloween, a little bit of orange from the pumpkins that we've seen so much last month, and also the future of the evergreen, the Christmas tree that we're going to embrace soon. But I try to do the background of blue because the sky or the ocean water, the sky there is very dark at nighttime, but we see also a lot of stars, much more than in the city. I put different suns because it's the visible sun. I know there's one, but at the same time, it can be like a sunny side egg. My daughter discovered that she loves sunny side eggs.
Oh.
So I was like, one idea from her.
And the action that is kind of orange, right? That's the one maybe she likes.
Yes.
Oranges in Florida too.
Orange is a lot in Florida. And then I cut the shapes because I was thinking about the artist today. I was like, let me mimic her cruise ship or the boat. But then I was like, let me put it as the sun rays. And instead of sun rays, what it came as equality.
Which she was very much interested as well.
So I picked up a little bit of her ideas, sun rays, and then also I think it's the sign of the lesbians and gay, the equality.
Yes.
I was like,
And
wow,
inclusion.
it came
Yes.
out of my hands without even thinking too much about it. And these are the palm trees, all the greenery that absorbs the sun rays. So these are kind of like it can be either the stars or the sun rays, the heat that's so powerful from the sun. And my daughter and us, we did the kayaks there in the Gulf of Mexico, Florida. And actually they were orange and yellow. A lot of their
I was
boats.
not in Florida, but I was thinking in you.
Yes, the beach.
We
The
were all
big-
wishing,
yes,
we were wishing
With
we
the
were
dark,
with you.
you know, the sun and the water and
Yours is
everything.
fabulous.
Yeah, but
Maybe I'm
I
gonna,
had the same
maybe I'm gonna
idea, but
frame
it
it.
came out like this, you know?
We need more yellow. Take some of the yellow paper and work on it more at home.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
So even the kayak wasn't for the first time for me, but it was the first time for my daughter. So that's important, special for her. So that's why it shows up in this picture also.
Bravo, Elaine. Bravo.
Thank you.
Very deep thought in this. I'm thrilled for you. So much of you in this picture. That's the beauty of art.
I
is it
love the
comes
class.
from the heart.
My ideas come out from your
I'm so
language,
thrilled to hear that. Thank you.
your heart.
Thank you. Wow. Woohoo! Art will change the world. You've proved it. All right. See you next week, Daniel. I love your picture. Bring it back next week finished so I can see it. Please. All right, folks at home, I'm going to say goodbye till next week. Encouraging you to send those JPEGs, please. Stay well and art on. Take care, everyone. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Give those grandbabies a big